Welcome back, dear viewers. My name remains Dayo, Omoogun, and with me in the studio to look at what the papers are saying this morning is Ben Agunloye, and together we will be looking at what's going on, and at the appropriate time we also allow you to contribute as we open our phone line, a phone number that you already know, but let's wait till that time so that we can do everything in an orderly fashion. And I have with me the Nation, the Vanguard, the Punch, and if you extend that to cover even the Leadership and Daily Trust, I'll just be reading out the stories that run through the thread, that are common to all of these papers, so we can then, on the basis of that, discuss and bring meaning to what's happening around our nation. So the Nation newspapers, I start with the Nation newspapers. The major headline here says General Lagbaja's death throws FEC, that is Federal Executive Council, and the military into mourning. General Lagbaja, you would recall, is the immediate past, who is now late, immediate past Chief of Army Staff, Tauridi Lagbaja, those are his names, who died 2 days ago, and it says that the FEC and the military have been thrown into mourning. And you have also Harris, that is Kamala Harris, the Democrats' presidential candidate in the election, in the U.S. elections, who just got concluded yesterday, concedes defeat to Donald Trump as Tinubu and world leaders hail the winner, hail Trump. So that's the Nation for you. The Nation is also saying at the top left-hand corner, it says 100,000 vehicles have so far been converted to CNG. 100,000 vehicles converted to compressed natural gas, CNG, compressed natural gas. That is to say, they won't have to have put up with the skyrocketing prices of petrol. Then it says here on the right-hand corner, just under the other story on Zenith Bank, would rather take illegal miners destroy forest reserves in Taraba. Illegal miners destroy forest reserves in Taraba. That's still in the Nation. And we'll go quickly to the Vanguard. Let's go to Vanguard. In the Vanguard, the U.S. poll, in her concession statement, Kamala Harris says to Donald Trump, "Be president to all. Be president to all." Kamala charges Trump. Be president to all. That is the entire nation, all the segments, blacks, whatever their beliefs are, whatever their affiliations are. She is urging that that Trump would treat all of them as one. Now, it says Tinubu, Akpabio, governors, Obi, mourn as Chief of Army Staff Lagbaja dies at 56. That's still talking about the Chief of Army Staff who died after some illness 2 days ago at the age of 56. It says that Tinubu, Akpabio, governors, Obi mourn as the Chief of Army Staff Lagbaja dies at 56. You also have gunmen abduct over 100 peasants in Zamfara. A Catholic priest in Imo. That is, banditry is still alive and maybe waxing quite strong if 100 people can be abducted so easily. It says gunmen abduct over 100 peasants in Zamfara and one Catholic priest in Imo. That's the Vanguard. The Vanguard is still talking about, it's also talking about go after real culprits. Emir Sanusi, that's talking about the minors that was recently released. He's saying that's a misplacement of priority, that they should go after, the security people should go after the real culprits. You also have court stops Accountant General of the Federation, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Revenue Mobilization Commission, others from withholding Kano LG allocations. I guess what is currently playing out in Rivers was set to play out also in Kano, but this has been preempted by the court order. I guess these are the major ones from the Vanguard. Then the Punch. It says, we were starved, locked up with criminals. That's their major headline. It's talking about the minors who are speaking, having been released. There have been a whole lot that they have talked about. They have said that they were locked up in darkness. Many of them say they had not seen sunlight for weeks before they were brought to court, which is why some of them couldn't even see well when they were brought to court. They had been fed very poorly, according to them, and so on. And they also said that they were locked up with what do you call them now? Criminals, which is totally not acceptable globally. You also have world leaders salute Trump as president-elect, vows to end illegal immigration. That must be a warning signal to a lot of Africans who, and in fact other nationals who try to seek greener pastures in the US. That's a signal to you that if you must immigrate, you must do it the right way. You must do it correctly. The Trump administration is not going to leave any stone unturned to ensure that illegal immigrants don't have a place, according to him. He was clear with this in his campaigns, and he has repeated it again. So those are two major ones in the Punch. And also you have Tinubu, governors, chief of defense staff, others, Mon Lagbaja. So I think this is a common thread, and this is where we'll center our focus on. So maybe we'll go first on Lagbaja.
Well, on Lagbaja, I think it's obviously a sad news for the nation. For maybe another time, we are having yet another very good, disciplined, fine, patriotic officer getting to the top and going abruptly. Yeah, it's someone I think I've had the privilege of knowing him as a young officer.
Right.
As a captain, he was my camp commandant. As a major, I have one or two things doing while he was a directing staff at the NDA. So at least to a large extent, you have a good someone I've had personal interaction with. And his sense of patriotism and focus on the nation is absolutely very, very clear.
Wow.
His dedication you cannot question.
Wow.
So for the nation, therefore, it is a very huge loss that is going at this moment.
At this time.
And so whoever had come to know him, had come to work with him, will definitely miss him. So I think that it is indeed a big loss.
A huge loss
to the nation.
It definitely would be a huge loss, first of all, to the family, and then his constituency, the military, and of course the entire nation. In fact, to the president, who handed over the security, is a part of the security architecture to him. It's a huge loss, and I want to think that if my assessment is anything to go by, I think that he was doing a good job in terms of contributing to reducing the incidence of banditry while in office. reports say that over 300 bandit or leaders of the banditry thing have been eliminated within this period, and we're talking less than 15 months. If that is true, that's a fantastic record. Reports say that he has tried to procure aircraft for the military, for the army, in order to assist them in their operations. Of course, they need their own aircraft.
Obviously, he is of the paratrooper battalion.
Okay, so
he is a jumper. So definitely,
he knows.
He used to be in the Airborne Brigade as a platoon commander, and of course, in subsequent life. So all his life, he's been more in that area. So he knows what strength the nation can gain
by having
that.
Those aircraft.
Of course, we also know that in terms of equipment, repairs, now the army is talking of local refurbishing and a lot of things going on. Of course, it takes someone who is down to earth and connected with the troop.
Yes. To think that way.
And connected with the troop to think that way.
Right.
And obviously, he is somebody that connects. That at least I can see, because in those days, of course, it was a Abacha regime. But even in the midst of that, you will know that he was still cordial with the corpers. He was maybe camp commandant twice. I think his first set was with us, and I remember that a lot of time when you sit down and you talk, and he talks about the nation, we would always jokingly say, look, the basic aspiration of every cadet is to become a general.
And at least that aspiration,
highest legitimate aspiration is to become the chief of army staff.
Right.
So ever since that time, I've always watched him. So when he became a major general, and I remember that someone has always said, any major general can become chief of army staff. I said, oh, this guy is actually close to getting it. And we know he had a lot of good vision, a lot of good intention. It's just sad that death would not allow us to get the best. Or to have him around for a longer time.
I honestly think that this man came with vision. He came with vigor originally. He came with very good intentions, and I don't think this is about what we normally do, just trying to praise the dead because they are now dead. I think that these are real facts that everybody can check and confirm, to the point where, just as Ben said, that he's somebody who connects with people from across strata of society. He was just already providing an affordable homes project, even for soldiers, affordable home acquisition project. That's somebody who thinks of other persons, who must be trying to bring that to pass. And so there's a whole lot to talk about Taoridi Lagbaja. We must say adieu to him, but it also is a lesson to every other person who is living and who's listening, who is watching right now, that a day will come when we're no more. So it's important that we have a good account of good legacies. Every time somebody dies, it's an opportunity for us to do a self-evaluation and check, when I leave, what will be said of me when I leave. And let's cut all the we're not talking about all the cosmetic things. There are real things that people can talk about and can be pointed to, that people can attest to. Nobody knew. I'm meeting Ben for the first time, and yet he's saying, just out of the park that I just reached out to him, he's saying he had a one-on-one interaction with him. Who could have known? I didn't know that before now. Likewise, there will be several other persons he has connected with. I hope that where you are in your little sphere of influence, you're giving your very best to yourself, to your nation, to that area that of your calling or of your duty. It's very crucial, because that's the only way that we can all build a great nation together. And so we will leave Taoridi Lagbaja and ask that the Almighty God will grant him sweet repose, and then grant the family and every loved one the courage and fortitude to bear the loss. And of course, it's also a good time to challenge the new person in charge to also ensure that he does what he can to move not just the military forward, but also Nigeria forward. Yeah, so thank you. We'll move quickly to Trump, the return of Donald Trump. Wow, how did you receive the news?
Well, I will clearly say in the course of the campaign, I have expected him to be able to win.
Really?
Why?
Why?
Because, you see, between, I think, 85 and 87, when we were running transition to democracy, and there were all manners of debate.
Yes.
I did remember that one statement that was consistent in that Babangida regime was the concept of the vocal minority. That when you actually have a minority that is vocal, the only voice you tend to hear is their voice. The only packaging you see is their package, and the only optics that is loud is theirs. But that doesn't mean that they were the best. Now, for benefit of hindsight, you will know that there are a number of Trump supporters who are not maybe out there in the public, who are not getting the optics. And of course, there are fundamental issues. I think he has been clear, he has been more clear and more focused when we come to the economy.
The economy, clearly, yeah.
He's been persistent and clear about illegal migration.
Exactly.
The irregular migration.
Yes.
It is not anti-migration.
He says do it right.
He says let there be regular migration. No, irregular migration is not just a problem to the government. It's also a problem to the masses.
Exactly.
It's also a problem to the residents.
Because it frustrates planning, it throws everything out of balance.
So, because that is there, you therefore expect that anyone who is focused on proper planning and moving the nation forward to a large extent will be tilted towards Trump in the area of migration.
Yes.
Because they are not saying new migration, it's saying let there be regular, proper documentation so that there can be proper planning. That goes to, so in migration, I think he has a more clearer perspective.
That's it, yeah.
Kamala Harris was neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Then you come to abortion. It thinks that yes, you've given people rights. They have the right to take decision.
Yes.
If two consenting adults decide to do things and did not use their head, and then a pregnancy comes, if the life of the mother is not in danger, that child has the right to live. So you cannot say because you are fighting for the right of the mother,
then the child should be exterminated.
Go. And so he is saying, look, if you have been irresponsible enough to get pregnant, then take responsibility to carry the child to delivery. And when you have done that, you can go for the option of adoption rather than killing the baby. So Trump was a pro-child adoption.
That's it.
As against pro-abortion.
Which Kamala Harris
will support.
Yes.
And of course we come to drugs and a number of other immoralities. Yes, you see it as a right of the people.
Yes.
But the reality is that each of those rights, when eventually fully exhausted, impinge negatively
on society,
on the right of others and on the society.
Exactly.
Yes, you want to take the gun away, but you can't take the knife away. And a knife in the hand of somebody who is intoxicated with marijuana that you want to legalize can be able to do things wrong.
Yes.
So what you will see across the platform is that the youths, yes, Kamala Harris won among the youth, but the margin was much lower compared to the winning for Biden or for even any of the other candidates from the Democratic Party in in the past.
Wow.
So that tells you that to an extent, even though Harris had the optics,
yes,
and
it didn't translate to
it is not everybody. So it is a concept of the vocal minority. There is that majority that is silent, that is not talking,
and will take appropriate action.
Eventually take appropriate action. They are, so you call them the listening majority as against the vocal minority. I think that's one of the things that played out in the election. Yeah. So people were just waiting. They used to vote. We will vote.
We know who to vote. We know who to vote.
We know what to watch for. And of course, you can't rule out the evangelical factors.
Yeah, of course.
You also cannot rule out the Israel factor. You know, one of the things I think was Obama's second term.
Yes.
He had the environmental crisis.
Right.
And so, as president, he was able to respond, even in areas where ordinarily they might not have voted for him. The weather or the environmental crisis favored him because he responded well, and the people supported him. But unfortunately, yes, there were environmental crises at this time, but I think some of the Republican states like Arkansas and co, like Sanders, Okabi Sanders and co in Arkansas have responded better than the Democrats could have done. And in the midst of all that, yes, they have to do a switch of candidates less than 120 days to the election. And of course, the Israel question was also a clear one. The Jews have a high negotiating team within the American system. And so if you will not be able to be clear and categorical
on their support
with Israel, it will definitely affect you. So a number of things come to play, and put them together, they were clearly not in Kamala.
Two things quickly before we go on Trump, on Donald Trump. The average Nigerian before now had this feeling. Only a few Nigerians. I see the social media. I have a friend who was consistently in support of Donald Trump, and I also felt that yes, I think that Donald Trump is a better candidate. But most other Nigerians felt that Kamala Harris was it, and most the black section of the American populace also saw her as one of them. And then you also don't forget that the gender thing also would have made would have favored her ordinarily. But it then shows that the point I want to make is that from the first point you made in your analysis, Nigerians need to know that this man is not against immigration. He's saying do it right. Do it right. I think this is very important so that the perception can change, so that you don't begin to see him as an enemy of Nigeria or enemy of Africa or something. And in any case, it might also be a wake-up call for our own governments to do the right thing, because if this place is good enough, you don't always have to be on the next ship to somewhere else. And then I really like the point that you made when you said the vocal minority versus the listening majority. I think that's something to really watch out for. And then it also says that the fact that you tell the truth in organized advanced societies, the fact that you tell the truth of what you want to do does not stop you from winning if what you're saying is makes sense. Because in Nigeria, it will look as if politics comes with lying, comes with falsehood. You have to promise the things you don't really mean. You just have to be politically correct. Many people were afraid for Trump because it doesn't sound politically correct in many cases. I mean, when he says, for example, if we see a man marry a man, there'll be consequences. I mean, meanwhile, that's a very touchy issue. The LGBTQ community seems to be very powerful and growing, and with the support from such parties as the Democratic Party, you will think that that was enough to knock off Trump. But as things have played out, I think it's a pointer to the fact that if what you're saying, if it really resonates with the people, even though they may not be making so much noise, they know what to do. especially in those times.
Yeah, the thing, it's also very clear that you need to understand your environment and the
very well
where you work.
Exactly.
The foundation of America is the evangelicals.
Exactly. So how can you know how
tilt towards moral values?
Correct.
Now, we would want to say this: human rights should not be at the expense of morality.
Values. Exactly.
Now, yes, there is the LGBT, they can be powerful, but what is their number? How many children do they have that they can influence? When you also come to gender sensitivity, the issue of abortion is sensitive.
Very sensitive.
A lot of American mothers are also committed mothers. So a committed mother, by nature, will not support you. You see you as irresponsible when we are talking about abortion. That's a very clear term. And when you look at things, of course, on the general scale, even among the Latinos, when you look at the analysis of the election, and among the blacks and among the Asians, it's obvious that the margin of win where Kamala Harris won is much lower than the Republicans have always taken, even in that respect. So it tells you that in a way there is something the Democratic Party as a whole need to sit back and restudy their framework and find out what are the missing links, because their message seems not to gel
with the majority.
Their former catchment areas, the way it was with Obama, with Hillary Clinton, with Biden. Remember that Clinton had the higher majority vote, the higher popular vote than Trump in 2016.
It was electoral.
By this time, you are talking of a wide gap, both in the electoral college and even in the popular vote.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a very clear win, something you could almost call a landslide, if you like. Yeah. So, but then let's localize this. What does it? Before then, do you think that the return of Trump will sort out the Israel Middle East crisis and even Ukraine or Russia?
Well,
he has promised that he will settle Russia, Ukraine.
He's a more outgoing person.
Yeah.
He's got some form of relationship with
the Russian president,
so he should be able to bring something to bear. He's a personal friend to Netanyahu. The wife had a personal relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu's wife. So you possibly expect that both officially and unofficially, they will be able to discuss and be able to take better decision that may solve some of these this crisis. We might be looking at getting a long-term
solution,
ceasefire, at least in the Middle East. And where that happens, it gives opportunity for better development and for better discussion.
Exactly.
We don't know what his position will be on those calling for a two-state nation for Gaza. But at least we know that because of his relationship with Netanyahu, we would have a better resolution in Gaza than we have at the moment.
At the moment. Well, congratulations once again to the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. I guess we should look at we were starved, locked up with criminals. This also runs through most of the newspapers this morning, and those are the minors complaining, the minors that were just released 2 days ago by the president. And I really think that it was a misnomer, a bad aberration for them to have been put in the correctional facilities in the first instance, and not just that it now took about 93 days before the matter was revisited, and not just that, to think that a judge in his proper elements, I believe, would ask those children, one person apiece, to bring 10 million naira as bail bond. I think such judges should actually, I don't know how the legal system really works, but I think such a judge should be brought to book, should be called to order. Because when such a bail bond becomes laughable, you also make a mockery of the justice system. You make, because it's laughable, except if there's a hidden agenda to put those children there perpetually.
Well, I would want to look at it this way.
Yes.
Number one, there was a protest.
Yes, there was a protest.
Number two, those children, as we would say, participated and took actions that could make them liable. And we saw them climbing street lights,
yes,
traffic lights to go and remove. You saw people removing computers, doing all manners. Now, of course, there was a protest.
Yes.
Should children of that age have been fully involved? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So something is definitely wrong within the society.
But two wrongs would never make a right.
For those of them who are the Russian flag,
yes,
do they even know what flag?
They may not even know what it means.
So who gave it?
Those are the people. Exactly. So that's what Sanusi said.
So the question
that they should go after the real.
So the question therefore for keeping them,
yes,
maybe with the intent to do further investigation and understood how they became involved.
Then let's do
now,
this.
However,
yes,
this is where I would want to look at it. When I was a young child, when we were stubborn, our grandmothers tell us, you will call welfare.
Welfare.
Take it to welfare.
Then
there is a police, juvenile, and welfare.
Exactly. That should handle the matter.
What has happened to the police, welfare and juvenile division? Because that's where hitherto they should go have been kept. That's why those would have been the people responsible for holding them over the period, and the 93 days would even have been an opportunity to instill some moral reform, do some measure of reformation, and refocus on how do you make their life better. But putting them, locking them away in prison with criminals, definitely it's not the right way.
See, there's a way that you have a good case and then you mess it up. Because the way you started, indeed, if they were caught doing some of those violent things, it was wrong. But at the same time, you do not put children, juveniles, in a full-blown holding facility. Yeah. It is so totally wrong. And if you were saying, if we want to argue for the purpose of a discussion that they were trying to get information, what investigation would you be carrying out for 93 days? 93 days means about 3 months. What exactly are you trying to get that you wouldn't have been able to get in a month? And in any case, so if you were trying to get information, why take them to court? Because you have gone beyond investigation now to prosecution. Yes. So I think there's a whole lot that was wrong. And then in the course of prosecution, somebody says, for us to give you a bail, you go and bring 10 million. I think that we need to really look at some of these things, because it doesn't sound well. It doesn't portray us well as human beings who want to be within the human community in 2024.
I think also that there is a problem. I do not agree that all the people taken were juvenile. I do not agree. It means, therefore, that there should also have been a separation between who is 18 and above and who is below 17 and below. If that has been properly done, then I'm sure we would not have seen what happened. However, if those guys, we make the flag ourselves, and this is the reason why we make it, then that could be actually tracing, irrespective of their age. A criminal will have been a criminal. However, how you handle the process is what should make the difference. So if the charges were tracing and the judge or the teams agree that those were the charges, then a bail of 10 million will not be out of place. So it has to first of all be what was the intent, what was the purpose, what are the charges. But like we said, procedurally there has been an error. The juvenile should have been separate. Now those who made noise about the juvenile, eventually you are throwing out the whole case. There are those among them who I believe ordinarily shouldn't be juvenile. They should go in. Age is not by size. No, it's not by when they were born. So the fact that some people are small locally doesn't mean that they are not of age.
Exactly, but you see, I like this point that you have made, but you see, unfortunately, there's a way by which we generalize on both sides. There was somebody who spoke on the other side, who tended to this, and who said those, I mean, he also captured every one of them and said they are not juveniles, that some of them are married among them, that some of them are, I mean, he gave some kind of description. That's unfortunate. I think that we must handle issues more maturely and more detailedly. It's very important. If they had done a proper profiling, then you would have known the people who are 17 and below and those who are 18 and above. And then you would have known those who really took part. There are videos. It may not necessarily be all of those people who even took part. And don't forget, there are human rights activists who were not involved in any violence, who were kept behind bars. I don't know whether they are still there, but I do know that Dayo was here, and for 1 month as at the time Deji came here, they were still behind bars, and that rubbishes whatever we call our human rights record, because what it means is that we have now thrown out the provision in the Constitution that says that we're entitled to violence-free protest. So I think that these are a whole lot of issues that we need to interrogate. And then, now that they have been released, what next? People are saying, I hear Falano, the celebrated lawyer, has said that those children should not go empty-handed like that, should be given some form of compensation, should, and that's what this kind of, when you ruin your chance, when you mishandle your own chance, all other things can begin to surface, and I think that's what's happening. I think that if the right thing had been done, nobody will be talking about compensation now. But even beyond that, first of all, is that most of these children are street urchins. They are street kids, which is to say, it's still a failure of governance in the first instance for those children to find themselves in that circumstance. And that needs to be addressed.
Because if you ask me, I will say that number one, they've had them for some time. They have been properly profiled. Why are we compensating them? I disagree with financial compensation.
Right.
However, I believe that these children require rebuilding. They require reforms. If they are within the age of school, then you should begin to look at what school or facilities or holding can you take them. What trade can they learn? So it should be a case of federal government, like they have said, releasing them to their state governors, and the state governors handing them in trust to people who can make their life better. Not returning them to whoever placed them on the street in the first instance. And I also need that some of the parents need to be brought to question,
right,
to come and sign the
I agree with that.
If we release these children back to you, are you able to take care of them?
But the challenge is that some of them don't even know their parents.
Fine, for those who know, fine. For those who don't, no problem. In the UK, over time, when you leave your children and you don't take care properly, the welfare takes over those children, and they no longer belong to you, to the parent. You go to court, and most likely you are going to lose if the welfare had a strong case against you. Many Nigerian women working in the UK had such challenges because you possibly leave children under the age of 10 by themselves, which is against the law. So if they cry and somebody calling the police, they break the door, they take them away, and of course you are considered unfit to take care of them. So in this instance, we already know that these parents have demonstrated negligence. So if you don't know the parent, the government become the parent, and these children are trained and are given value so that they can give value back to the society. Yeah. So it's not a function of you compensate them and then they will go back to jail.
The same thing.
And then the next riot, They are still on the street.
All right, so dear viewers, you can call in now. Please, let's observe the ground rules of cutting down the volume of your TV set, of walking away from the TV set, of as much as possible putting together your thoughts. If you need to put down the main points of what you want to present, so you can articulate them without rambling, without unnecessary waste of time. Please, let's observe this so that we can have a beautiful conversation towards building the Nigeria of our dreams. The number remains 08029938365, and it's on the screen right now. You can please call in. I saw that someone was trying to call in just before now. You can do it right now, and we will pick your call and take your contributions so that the entire world can hear your own piece of wisdom. Thank you. So, okay, let's take this one first, and then we will be talking about the environmental issue in Taraba. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah,
good morning.
Yeah,
my name is Dayo. Yeah, my name is Honorable Chris. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
All right.
Yeah, let me talk about these minor children that they arrested and start charging for all manner of treason. It's quite unfortunate that Nigerian government and the security architect will descend so low. Whosoever that advised them on this kind of, look at what, even the little kids that was watching most of them, they don't even know anything. It's just like when I was a little boy. You know, it's that very day. I just hear Oshebe, people were trooping up with my pants. I just carry the handle, and everything, follow them like from Port Harcourt to my one. My people were looking for me. Even once my uncle were chanting Oshebe. What is, I didn't even know, just Oshebe. And I didn't even know my way to come back. So I returned back very late that very day. So, like those children there, did they know what is the United States of America flag or Russian flag? I don't really understand. Why are they? It's not good. And Mr. President, even the deep people of that region, where can they jam-pack such children? Like last time I went to somewhere, I see a breastfeeding mother over the counter in a police station. How can you do such a thing? The way Nigerian security, the way they behave here, I don't like it. At times in the year, why you a nursing mother like that? Leave my pikin alone. Leave my mom here. You see some Nigerian police. Leave my daddy alone. Don't let me Nigeria. Is it proper? Is it good? There's another way. The bad thing that can happen to a child when you arrested the mother or the parent in front of the child cry. You see that child crying. Leave my daddy in there. Leave my daddy. You bust their door, bust everything. You hit their gun. You use this. Is it how to do something? Is there any other better way? Look at the national interaction. I am telling you that video and everything have gone viral. You look at those children, the way they are looking at the judges, the lawyers. We are looking at their head. What is this thing that this man is putting on his head? We are looking at them like this.
You need to begin to round up now.
They should change the approach of the way they do things.
Thank you very much. So he's saying that the method is crude. The method can be improved upon. And while waiting for the next call, let's take this story about illegal miners destroyed 22 what's this? Forest reserves in Taraba. Of course, when you destroy forest reserves, in this season of climate change challenges, of course you expose us to all kinds of vagaries. And then of course it also says that illegal resource exploitation is thriving in those places. That will call for the attention of what's this ministry called now?
Ministry of
Solid Minerals. And they now have a unit that is a security unit that's supposed to take care of matters like this, and I don't know what you make of it.
Well, that story has got three implications. One is for the environment itself, the fact that you are depleting an existing forest. Now, in the north central, going to the northeast, Taraba is one of the places where you have the real forest.
Right.
So in an age and time when you could actually attract green credit.
Exactly.
Which is revenue for the state based on existence of forest. I think it is sad that not just official miners, but illegal miners will be destroying the forest. So the environment is affected. Revenue-wise, the state will not get what it should get. And of course, you now come to the security dimension. There is no way you have illegal miners that they won't have issues with the local people in the environment.
Correct, yeah.
And so you will see that so many of the insecurities and instability that we have are also promoted, because when you come to mining, you come with explosive, you come with some other items which can be used
for other
criminal purposes. So having them in place, when you're talking about 22 forests, that's not the kind of event that happens overnight. So it tells us therefore that to a large extent what the state forest reserve or forest guard will be doing, we really cannot explain. But the opinion has always been there that yes, you have forest reserve and forest guards in the state. Maybe in some states they are under the Ministry of Agri. I think it is time that you actually make them more effective, give them more training, and then let them become more able to participate in the security process in their environment. And there should be possibly at the federal level, because some of the forests are actually federal government
forests
owned. They are federal government reserves, even though they are within the state. So there should also be a national body that is looking at protecting the forest.
Why are you not looking at the angle, the possible angle of interest of possible connivance between these forest guards and the criminal elements who are perpetrating this mess?
No, if you have trained, now what you have in some places as forest guard are some people who have retired from other jobs and then they are in their 60s, in their 70s. No,
so they can't even bring them
looking at a vibrant, virile young people taken into the job, well trained, who can see that they have a career going into the future. And so with that in place, you know that the level of connivance or the things they will do, right, will be different, because they have a future, there is a vision that has been cut, there is a picture of tomorrow that has been painted, which they can buy and run with, and so they can run with that vision. But as against the current case of Shebi is just, you are there when you like, you carry a ragtag bicycle, and then if you see anything challenging, you run away. Some of them do not even have any form of communication gadgets. Ask them what is their reporting process. So we are talking of a network,
a proper structure.
Where the hunter, the forest guard, whatever you see in the forest, you can escalate. Whether it is to civil defense, to the police, or to whoever, and appropriate actions are taken. But when that is not done, then some of these forests are left ungoverned. The chances are also that there were spaces not governed, so they will just know, okay, this mineral is here, and the guys moved in, and they begin to do what? To do things without anybody challenging them for so long. And I think in this case in Taraba, you're talking of some Chinese being involved, you're talking about some other nationals from other West African countries being present. So the question would be, how did they get into the state?
Good.
How come they are within the state? Who is monitoring and registering their activities? Until there is that layer of coordination.
Yes.
until there is that layer of coordination, you cannot rule out criminality.
And how come they can do this and get away with it without any challenge? So for me, I think that there's still some hand of is it hand of Esau now?
No, it's a case of ungoverned spaces. If the spaces are
properly governed, yeah,
then you will realize that there are levels of reports, and then the information will filter out. But because it's not governed, somebody gets in there, it's a reserve forest, so to say. The owner of the forest is not visiting. It's like a case after the game in Abuja, some guys moved into Games Village and they were living there, no landlord, nothing. At some point, some of them appointed themselves caretaker. They bring in more people
and collect money from them,
and we live in those places. It's an ungoverned space, so illegalities can go on.
Thrive.
But when you make the place governed, then you can monitor what is happening, and then there is a reporting process, and then you can decide what to do.
Now, lastly on that, what do you make of it when you look at the scenario where in some sections of the country such resources are locally tapped and the proceeds pocketed locally between maybe some community leaders and the investors, in this case maybe the Chinese and all that, and then a situation where, because you say that we run a federation, I don't understand, and you must ensure that resources from a section of the country are fully monitored, and I'm sorry, I have the feeling of like different standards, double standards if you like, in how our resources are being mined, are being and the proceeds therefore are being allocated.
Well, the way I will see it is this: it's more like there is difference, because even in the oil sector that everybody is focusing on, at some point we said 80% of what is being produced is stolen. As of today, is there any point, any single point where you can go and then you know this is what quantity of petroleum that was produced yesterday? Yeah, and this is the quantity loaded. There is no record. So we have issues with records. We have issues with sincerity. We have issues with people doing their jobs. We have mining institute, we have geological surveys, we have that. Where are the geological maps? What are the strategies to ensure that they are properly done? The truth is that monitoring and evaluation is a problem with us.
A serious problem.
Development is a problem.
Well, maybe where the difference is, Ben, I'm sorry. Where the difference is that in some sections of this country, even though there are lapses, there's huge government presence trying to say the right thing should be done. Maybe there's still a struggle, a huge struggle.
Yeah.
But in these other cases, it looks as if people are looking the other way, intentionally.
Well, it's a case, and that's what we're saying. When you say solid minerals, there are solid minerals in Osun, there is in Edo, there is in Nasarawa, there is in Ekiti, there is in Zamfara. So the reality is government taking from Osun as of today? The problem is that we have not set the standard and we have not set the table to say that if you have gold or you have lithium, this is what should be done. To this level, you cannot even export without doing some form of processing. So the man who is coming for the license, whether at the state or at the national level, is making, okay, this is the level of processing that will happen before I take it. So it's a huge land, it's a huge resources, and it requires proper coordination, in my opinion. And I think that the coordination is what is still missing. We have experts, we have people on the field, but what are we doing with the reports that they are writing? Where is the plan to say that, okay, this is what is available in this state? These are the cadastras where they are. These are the people who have licenses. and this is what they should do with what they mine. Now when you now see activity happening in environment where there are no licenses, what do you do in such circumstance? So the information that comes, and that's what we keep saying, what information are we feeding into the system from the hunters, from the forest guard, from the civil defense, from the police, from the farmers?
And what is being done?
And when this information comes in, what do we do? Or do we, now I can't categorically say that we actually even have a platform for people to report what they see as it regards mining.
Right.
We are always talking about security, and we talk less about safety. A lot of mining activities are injurious to human safety.
That's correct, yeah.
They may not be an immediate security threat, but they are safety threats.
It's real. It is.
They are safety threats.
Yes. Yes. Now, thanks, Ben. We'll take this last story, but I'm wondering where my viewers are and why the calls are not coming in. 08029938365 is still the number, and I expect that you make your call in the remaining very few minutes before we go. Let's maximize this program. Where is what's his name now? The Reverend gentleman from Benin. You're not interested in this, or what's happening? Where is the man from Borno? Where are our regular callers? Please, let's have you in the next 5 minutes. Let's play with another 5, 7, 8 minutes, and then we'll probably have opportunity to go. But the final story, the last story that I intend for us to talk about is this story on the far top corner of the Vanguard, which says gunmen abduct over 100 peasants in Zamfara, and also there are those who abducted the Catholic priest, one Catholic priest in Imo State, which is to say that banditry, kidnapping, abduction is still very alive in spite of the best efforts of the military, in spite of the best efforts of the security system. It's still very much alive. If 100 people can just be whisked away and without interruption, without being stopped. And then the Catholic priest also in Imo, one Catholic priest. I think that for me, I really believe that the security forces this time around are doing a huge job, but it may just be that it is not yet enough, and it may just be that they have challenges that need to be addressed to make them much more effective. What Ben says to this, we'll all hear from now. But please also, we want to hear your take. Okay, let's take this. Somebody has had appeal. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? And then you go.
Yeah. This is Honorable Chris. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
You're the one that called earlier, right? Go ahead quickly.
Yeah.
Just take like 30 seconds. We will need to have as many.
Let me into this. No problem. Adoption of over 100 persons and the adoption of priests in Imo State. Let me be direct to the Imo State because I know Imo very well and I know how Imo State have been militarized by security personnel.
The 300 peasants are in Zamfara.
No, he's talking about the guy in Imo.
The 300 peasants are in Zamfara. It's just the Catholic priest that's in Imo. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, good.
I know.
Okay.
Let me say this. How can you adopt 300 people or 300 people in Zamfara? If you're talking about the Imo, only one priest, that one. But this one, 300. How did you move
How?
300? How did you move them? How? And on the side of the Imo, even from Port Harcourt here to Abia, last time when I traveled, I counted not less than 20-something police checkpoints, security checkpoints from here to Area Junction. So as still at the end, the boys will still make the way and kidnap people untouched.
In large numbers.
It's the high time will start questioning the presence of security personnel in our various routes or routes. So to me, it makes no sense. Look at what is going on in Imo State, how the other place is militarized. Still, they went ahead and kidnapped a priest. Till now, nobody knows the whereabouts. Did they kidnap him to where? It's a question of concern. No, I am telling you, government should come and explain. Security personnel should come and explain why all these things are happening. And at the end, what you will hear is being released. Thank God to the family. Who kidnapped you? Is it a black man that kidnapped you? Is it a white man that kidnapped you? Because of security reasons. Is it a security who now ask the person, don't say anything. If before when you come out, if something happened to you, you testify this is how and the how. Who kidnapped you? Which road? Where did they kept you? Which places did you? I don't really understand. Is it a business? If they will legalize a kidnapping,
Chris, your 30 seconds is gone. We need to quickly take your compatriot.
Okay, I'm not happy.
Of course, I understand that. Please do call in. The line is free. So you're wondering, like you said, how do you move 300 people? How?
The question is simple, right? You have 100 bandits on 100 bikes, then they can move any number of people without issues. But these are where the issues are. We have ungoverned spaces that is established.
Clearly.
Forest where there are no people and this and that.
Yeah.
Apart from that also,
please, I hope you don't mind. Oops, we lost you.
Even here in Abuja, a lot of places, I live in Kubwa, and in many parts of Kubwa, you don't have network that is stable. You don't have data network or your phone network.
So you want to make an emergency?
Now you have about 60% of Nigerian land
that is ungoverned.
Until NCC is able to prove otherwise, where there is no network.
We'll take this. Just hold your thoughts. Hello?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
The name?
This is Mr. JB from Kakarane.
Okay, so let's have your take quickly.
Just like you said, banditry is very rampant in Nigeria today. Today, what is happening, I don't know why our government are not serious about the issue of banditry. You know that right now in Niger State, they went to one village very near Kagara, that is Waya. That place is called Waya. And bandits found that place, kill many people. Even, you know how they kill people? They go on slaughtering people, not even God. They use their knives to slaughter people like this. When they remove the head, they will put the head on the body of the person they throw.
No. Let's not have this very descriptive incident on air. Go on.
I'm not lying.
Yeah, I understand.
No, we want our government to know how many people. Bandits have been killing many people. Many people have lost their home, many people have lost their mother, some have lost their father, some have lost their children. This is too bad.
Thank you so much.
They are dying off.
Oops. So we're actually getting to rounding up very soon. We have about 5 minutes to go.
When there are incidents, we talk about track and trace. When there are no network to report, how do you track?
How do you trace?
When there is a lead time between between incidents and reporting, the first responder is hearing you after 3 or 4 hours.
What kind of first response?
What direction do you start searching? So to a large extent, I think beyond whatever we are doing in the immediate, yes, it's good we're talking about security and putting them everywhere, but I think we also need to begin to put more responsibilities in the area of ensuring that there is network expansion. And then, of course, perhaps there should be mass identification. That used to be here when EcoNet came.
Then we're going to take this.
Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You are doing very well in your program. I love your program.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Yes. My contribution is...
we don't have your name yet and your location.
My name is John Abbott from Lokoja.
Go ahead quickly, yeah?
Yes. Talking about those people kidnapped in Zamfara, I keep on wondering, how possible is it to carry away those numbers of persons at a time with all the checkpoints on the way? And then, looking at the Paris street carried at Imo, from your discussion I heard they have about 20-something checking points.
That's what...
and yet, somebody is carried away. In Nigeria today, from what I see, is that we think about our various pockets than what we can do for Nigeria. I'm calling on Nigerians to think of what they can do for Nigeria for the betterment rather than what they get, especially the security men that stand at checking points. They are more interested in what they take home. They are keeping the street safe for the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like we said, we need to have monitoring systems, but we need to also have networks.
Yeah.
When you have networks, it means that a farmer or anybody who sees something is then able to say something immediately.
Exactly.
Now, when there is early report, there can be early response. And of course, in some of those places, you're also talking about the roads are terrible. So when somebody has gone ahead of you 3 hours on a terrible road, the chances are that the hope of even tracing them at all is lost. They pass through some villages in the forest.
Yes.
But those villages, there are no network. So how do they raise alarm that we saw movements that are not proper? Then, like I was saying, in those days when you on your phone, you actually can know which mast you are connected to. So mast identity might need to also be returned. Some of the people you take into the forest and come back and can't tell you where they are. If such exists on the phone, even before the phone is collected or before you have kept the phone, you will be able to know that, okay, this mast is Kaba, this mast is Okene, this mast is Adoka. And this when you come back, you will be able to talk. Because for instance, you can go into the forest from my own side of Ondo State, you go into Edo. From Akoko, you go into Akoko Edo, and then you can go all the way, the same forest, stretch into Kogi, and continue for so long a time. You can continue for so long a time. When you get to Zamfara, also Zamfara, Kaduna, Katsina, in most of their boundaries in that axis, there are no landmarks, no mountain, no hill, no valley. But at least if you have something that can tell you where you are, it gives you an idea. Somebody has been working in the bush for 10 days can actually not come back and give you accurate record of where he has been, except there is something that could track that for him. And those are the cases. So yes, we need the security forces need to be more proactive, but we also need to help them. We need to get information in good time. I mean, we're talking about the technology angle now. Yeah, there can be so much checkpoint on the road. If you like, mount 200 checkpoints from Kaba to Ipele Junction, right? The man who kidnapped in Akuko will enter Edo without passing those checkpoints. That side. And can get into Kogi, and before you know it, will even cross the Niger at some point and go. But where there is enough measure in place so that the man who see can what? Raise an alarm
and to the right quarters.
So if he can raise an alarm, so he sees, he raise alarm to an emergency center. The emergency center can then inform other people. As they said, I've seen these people at so and so point too. If you have seen them in the point, and you know that this point is the junction between Edo, Ondo, and Edo State, and Kogi State, then you know that, hey, at this point. Just they are alerting 3 different area commanders
at the same time.
At the same time.
But
they are watching their
I think that Ben, we also have issues of as we begin to round up, we also have issues of Nigerians being concerned about their personal lives more than anything that has to do with the general society. There are Nigerians who will see those things, and even if you put those things in place, they say, "It will not call me. Let me just be going on my own." I notice, for example, that Nigerians are not security conscious. You can go through a street 5 times. You go down, you come up, you go down, come up. Nobody will stop you. It's so wrong as far as I'm concerned. Every single time I see people like that on my street, you go down, you come. If you do that twice or thrice, I come and say, "Hello, how are you doing? You need help? Do you want direction? Where exactly do you want to go?" I think that we must begin to develop those kind of attitudes on a general note, because we're too uncaring, we're too fearful, and there's no way you can have proper security if you don't care about what happens in your environment. It's very key. It's very key. We must go at this time, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful time with Ben Agunloye on the press. This is still the press, just about to round up for the Thursday edition, and I must say it's been great having you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Let it be known that you have to adjust your program to come more regularly on our different programs. Thank you very much. Thank you
very much.
Nigerians, we want to say thank you at this point. Thank you for watching, for being at the other end. We have that guarantee all the time. Tell your neighbors that KAFTAN is doing wonderfully well, and that's where it's happening, and that's where you must be. And also thank you all the ones that called, those who made their calls but were unable to pick, or while picking we lost contacts, we lost the network. Sorry about that. Please try again next time. And tomorrow is another day. Please do stay tuned. My production team, you are the best. Thank you very much.